Hi, everybody. I hope everyone's enjoying their weekend and having a very happy Sunday. I wanted to share with you an idea that I believe is very Jewish and has gotten extremely distorted ever since we started our obsession with food and weight. Right now, I believe we're in an information overload where we're completely obsessed with the fact that we, on the one hand, love to eat, and on the other hand, we don't like how we feel or necessarily look afterwards. And also it doesn't help that there's about 100 diets on the market and different fads come in and out, and we don't necessarily always know who to trust. And what works for one person doesn't necessarily work for another person, so it's really tough. You've got the high carb, low fat diet that was really popular when I was younger. And then it switched over to high protein and high fat and Atkins style. And we had paleo and Weight Watchers and Shakeology and MetaFast and Whole30. And I mean, the list goes on and on. It's kind of crazy. And there's no wonder that there's so much confusion about nutrition and health and what seems too much and what seems just right for each person. My story is that I didn't necessarily diet per se. I was always very aware of my weight. I was a thin kid. I wasn't an overweight child, which probably helped because I can't imagine what it must be like to grow up a heavy child and then that's stuck in your head from really the time that you are born or from the time that you remember going forward. That must be even more difficult in our climate. But I personally was a thin child, and as I got into be a teenager and got a little bit, grew into a teenager's body, I started to a little bit dabble with, I guess, fasting and feasting style, having days of not eating enough and days of eating too much. But I never really understood the connection between that and if and when my body lost or gained weight. It wasn't like I really was in touch with that, even though I felt like I knew so much because, there were so many conversations revolving around food and dieting. So it's so confusing because on the one hand, we're completely surrounded by all this conversation and dialogue about food and dieting. And on the other hand, we feel so out of touch with what normal looks like and should look like. I'm not a fitness coach. I'm not a health coach. I don't get a commission every time someone loses a pound. I definitely can understand why people would subscribe to having a coach in this world because of this feeling of confusion. You just need some clarity, some guidance and motivation. So there's lots of things that might really make sense for you to try. I'm just going to share what I understand in Judaism and what my experience has told me. I'm very anti-obsessing, first of all. I don't like the idea of obsessing. I think it creates a really bad role model for my children. And I really want my kids to have a healthy, esteem of themselves and of the people around them. I don't want them to judge them based on their body and how much they eat. For daughters or for sons, I think it's really important for both. So on the one hand, I don't like obsessing. On the other hand, I'm an Orthodox Jew and I celebrate Shabbat every week. So I have 3 giant meals every week in a very short span, and it's what we call a mitzvah, a commandment, so we get to feel good about it afterwards. So it's really, really difficult to stay moderate and balanced, and I've definitely succumbed to not being moderate, and my weight has fluctuated as an adult for sure. And I guess the other part of it that kind of makes me a little crazy is that I'll see on Facebook a lot of flaunting, and I feel like no matter what you look like, if you look amazing in your mind or you look terrible in your mind, why we are so obsessed with the body. I know it goes back many, many, many years, but I do think it's not good for us. We need to really look at ourselves as our essential selves and just take care of our health. I don't want to spend time, energy, money, a crazy amount of time, energy, money on this part of myself. And the other thing is about the gym. I used to love going to the gym when I went to the gym, but it does require time and money that I feel like at this stage of my life, I really don't have. So it's tough. And then I happened upon the other thing, which was that at the gym, sometimes you'll listen to music that for me as an Orthodox Jew, I find somewhere between very compelling because it's like this amped up music that I get to exercise to. And on the other side, it's not necessarily the kind of music that I want to be listening to that's good for my soul. So I'm trying to figure out how am I going to nourish my body, my mind, and my soul with whatever I do. I happened upon this other thing called intuitive eating. And I see that a friend of mine is watching. Hi, Elisheva. She helped me she highlighted this thing called intuitive eating for me. And I checked out this book and I read it and I thought it was really cool. Basically, the idea behind it, and I'm sorry if I'm butchering the philosophy, is kind of supposed to demystify our feelings towards food, not having such charged feelings of love or hate towards food. Food is just what it is. And it's there to fuel us, and it's there to keep us healthy, and that's all it is. It doesn't have to be more than that. And that's the kind of message we should pass on to our kids. Obviously, I love that, okay? But then the question is, how do you keep that? And that was something I really struggled with as I was learning about intuitive eating. And, they say, let yourself eat as much as you want to eat. Nothing is forbidden from you anymore. So I would eat a brownie, and then I would be like, that was really good. And then you're supposed to ask yourself, do I want another brownie? And I'd ask myself, and I would want another brownie. And pretty soon I was eating a lot of brownies and realizing maybe I'm just not ready for this thing called intuitive eating. And there's a book on it that does deal with this beginning stage. And they do say you have to be good to yourself and let yourself gain weight if you're going to gain weight, because you're not used to allowing yourself to eat as if it wasn't forbidden. And while I totally understand that, for me, it was just really hard to get in the mindset of the zone. There is an idea in Judaism that you have to be a little extreme before you can reach moderation, because when you are so confused and disoriented with everything going around you, it has to kind of be something clear and extreme to get you back on track, and then you can find your moderate ground. So that's where this other thing came in for me. What happened was so I decided I was going to exercise 30 minutes a day because it made me feel healthy and it made me feel strong, nothing to do with anything else. I personally don't think, and I've seen and I've heard that, weight loss is not necessarily predicated on how much you exercise, because you can eat a whole lot more than you can exercise and it won't necessarily make a difference. So I exercised because I felt good to exercise. It made me be in a positive mood. It made me feel energy. It made me feel stronger. And as a mother, I'll tell you, it made me feel more in touch with my body, which for me was a really big deal because I felt very out of touch. So exercise was my first segue into, maybe I really can do this, and there's more to this that I want to do. The other part of my motivation was, as an Orthodox Jew, I really want to be an example. And there was a woman who came up to me and she said, you're an Orthodox Jewish woman and your husband is a rabbi. You don't care about your body. I was so shocked by that. Like, of course I care about my body. So what if I'm an Orthodox Jewish woman? In fact, it's because I'm an Orthodox Jewish woman that I care about my body. My body houses my soul. My body is special. I don't want my body to just fall by the wayside because I'm focusing on the soul. We need to have complete focus on everything, and we need to have a balance. So, and I know that it's possible because as an Orthodox Jew, we have to wait between meat and milk. So if I have a piece of chicken and then someone pulls out the most delicious New York cheesecake 15 minutes later, I'm not even tempted to have a slice of that cheesecake. And it's not because I'm a saint. It's because I just know there's no way I'm having that cheesecake. It's not a forbidden issue. It's not like, should I or shouldn't I? I just know I'm not able to have that piece of cheesecake. It's not a question. But if I hadn't had that piece of chicken, then maybe I would be struggling of whether or not I should eat it. So I knew it was possible for me to be disciplined and controlled. The other thing that I noticed is on a day that I would fast, because we have about 5 Jewish fast days per year for religious reasons, not an ounce of food or drink can cross my lips. And it doesn't bother me so much I got a little thirsty, a little hungry, maybe a bit of a headache, but not anything serious, thank God. And what really is astounding is actually just, I'm so habituated to eating and drinking all the time. That is the hard part. Just not being able to eat and drink. The psychology of not being able to eat and drink all the time is rough. But it just shows me that I'm able to be self-disciplined if I need to be. So I knew there was a more controlled way of eating. I had never experienced it personally before, but in the last month, thank God I have been able to, and that's what I want to share. I'm going to get really practical with you guys. So as I was saying, I started exercising 30 minutes a day just to feel good. But then I decided I'm going to just approach this whole thing very scientifically. And, doctors say, calories in, calories out is how you're going to decide if your weight is lost or gained. So like, for example, on Medifast, where anyone who has lost weight on Medifast, I know a lot of people who've lost a ton of weight, and I'm like amazed with how they look afterwards. They look amazing. But I have tried a couple of their meals and I can't stomach them. Like, that's just me. So I just felt like, what if I counted all the calories in a typical MetaFast day? So there's like 4 or 5 meals a day that you can have from their products. And then you have your own quote unquote lean and green meal. So if you count that, there's about 900 calories a day that you're going to get. So that's way under the amount of calories that a person maintaining their weight would eat. So of course you're going to lose a whole bunch of weight from that. Anyone, like I said, if it works for you, I think, do you. But for me, it does not work. I just don't want to eat like that. I don't want to eat food that tastes highly processed and does not taste good. And I don't want to eat something that's out of a box. I want to feel like I can make something myself. I don't like the whole thing. I like going natural. But what I noticed about all these diets, and as I was comparing, even Atkins, like a high fat diet like that, a lot of it is calories in, calories out. And, we just don't realize how scientific it really is. It reminds me of the mitzvahs that we do, because there are certain times where a Jewish person is supposed to just do a commandment, even if they're not in the mood to do it. But just by physically doing the commandment, that is going to get them to a new reality. That's going to help them achieve. And that's a hard thing to understand, that just by doing, just the action is going to help us get to a new reality. But that's what it is. Same with calories in, calories out. Doesn't matter what diet you pick. If you're having less calories than your body actually needs, you're going to lose weight, period. Okay, so that said, I'm going to show you my kitchen, and I'm really sorry, it's super messy. But here's what I decided to do. I decided I was going to look up online, and by the way, you could go online for free and find out based on how much you currently weigh, what your build and height is, how old you are and your gender, how much you want to lose, how many calories a day you should eat, depending on if you want to lose a pound a week, 2 pounds a week, no pounds, totally up to you. And you do all the math, or the computer does it for you, and you find out. And whatever that number is, that's just the science of whether or not you're going to lose weight, period. There's no way around it. So even with like intuitive eating, for example, if you're going to lose weight using intuitive eating, it's going to be because you eat less calories or not eat less calories. That's all it really is. So I want to be honest with myself. I don't want to fool myself, or I watch, a lot of people psyching themselves into eating in a certain way that they don't want to eat. But I want to be honest with myself and tell myself, here's what I'm doing. Here's my plan, whether I like it or not. Okay. Getting right down to it. So for me, for my body and height, if I want to lose weight, I need to be eating about 1,200 calories a day. Now, that doesn't sound like a lot of calories to me, because I like eating more calories than that, but I don't have a very large build, and I'm on the shorter to average Jewish girl size, so I just don't need as many calories. The other thing is I'm very inactive during the day. I have an office job, so that definitely doesn't help in terms of if I wanted to increase the calorie count. So I figure about 300 to 400 calories per meal. And I know it's going to drive everyone crazy because I'm talking about calories, but I'm really sorry. That is just the science of losing weight, you guys. So 300 to 400 calories per meal. And if you have on the lower side, you can fit in a 200 calorie snack. Okay. So here's what I eat every single morning for the last month. And you don't have to eat this. I love it. And my husband fell in love with it after he was watching me enjoy it. And my children now eat it. Okay. I buy these Chobani. It might be backwards to you. I'm really sorry if it is. These Chobani yogurts, they're non-fat plain yogurts. Okay. And then they're 80 calories. Then I put on them these Trader Joe's, part of my kitchen, Trader Joe's almonds. They come in these pouches. They're 200 calories because it's a lot of almonds. So most of my calories in my breakfast are nuts because they're protein and fat, so they keep me feeling really full. Okay? So I got my yogurt, I got my nuts, and my raisins, which are 40 calories. So the whole thing is a 320 calorie breakfast. It's what I've been eating every single day, and I think I could probably eat it for the rest of my life and love it. If the yogurt is not sweet enough for you, you can always add a little sweetener if you'd like to, but for me, it's perfect, and it keeps me really full, and I really enjoy it. This is so not my style, I just want to say, but side note, this is not my style. I like focusing on very spiritual things, but I do believe spiritual and physical can intertwine, and someone did challenge me to do this video, so that's why I'm doing this video. Okay, so that's breakfast. Lunch, I do about 150 to 200 calories of carbs, so that's about 1 tortilla, or about 2 slices of bread, see? And I'll do maybe a third of an avocado. An avocado is over 200 calories per avocado, so I'll do about a third of one. And then I'll do a bunch of vegetables. Sometimes I'll do a couple of eggs. 1 egg is 70 calories, so I might do 2 eggs. And so my lunch is usually no more than 400 calories. For dinner, I do different things, but I will just show you guys. I do a lot of these chopping veggies in the beginning of the week. I do a lot of, I don't know if you can see, meal prep in the beginning of the week because I do work. There's my kale, which is really yummy. This is this new thing I found. Can you see this? It's these things called watermelon radishes. I just experimented with this. I have no idea if it's going to be good or not. For my carbs, I'll do a lot of brown rice, between half a cup and 1 cup of brown rice or quinoa or whole wheat pasta. So it's usually 2 slices of bread, one tortilla, or half a cup to a cup of brown rice or quinoa or pasta. I hate being so measured on the one hand. On the other hand, I feel it's really important that we learn a new normal. So that's why I do it. Okay. Sometimes I'll do sweet potato and I'll do about a cup of that, and I'll do like salad and corn. So basically that's what I eat every single day. I have my yogurt with my nuts and my raisins in the morning for about 320 calories. I have like a wrap, usually one of these tortilla wraps that I showed you from Trader Joe's, the Ezekiel ones, with a couple of eggs, like an omelet, and maybe a little bit of avocado and some salad or some variation of that. And then for dinner, I'll do a really big Buddha bowl, which is like a big thing nowadays if you go on Pinterest, and I'll put half a cup to a cup of either quinoa or brown rice or pasta, anything with whole wheat I'll do. And then I'll add a whole bunch of vegetables and roast vegetables, and I'll add some protein, usually hummus or chickpeas or something like that. So that is my typical day that I've been doing. I am loving it because I feel for the first time in my entire life, I know exactly what's going into my body and exactly what the consequences of my body, what's going to happen with my body. Because before I would like gain weight or lose weight and have no idea what was going on. But now I know. So it's such a good feeling. I hope that helped. If anyone has any comments, I'm totally open. What works for me doesn't work for you, and what works for you does not work for me. So I definitely respect other people's way of doing things, people who like to join challenge groups, people who like to have coaches. You do whatever you need to do, workout buddies, if you go to the gym. I just do what works for me. So I hope this helped you, gave you a little bit of inspiration. I have more food to show you, but I want to keep it short and it's already gone really long. Okay, so most importantly, let's focus on our soul and our mind so that our body is just there to fuel those things. Have a great day. Bye.